Yo, what's going on, guys? Spartan here. Guys, we've got a great video for you guys today, and I am not encouraging people or anybody to do this, but we're going to have a real look comparison at what? 2,500 milligrams of testosterone versus 250 milligrams of testosterone per week, okay? So we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the truth, the facts, the pros. We'll talk about maybe a little bit of the cons. But you guys already know a lot. I talk about all that stuff on my channel. So guys, let's dive into this. What is the truth of the matter? What are you going to notice, as far as everything? What is the big differences besides between 2,500 milligrams of testosterone per week versus 250 milligrams of testosterone per week, like a lot of people do for TRT, myself included. And there's a lot of people watching too that are using TRT, whether through my clinic or another clinic. So for those of you who do testosterone replacement through whatever clinic, whether mine or a different clinic, and you want to know what's the difference between a high dose steroid cycle, high dose testosterone cycle, let's talk about some of the differences, real life differences, okay? All right, getting into this. So the biggest thing you're going to notice between 2,500 milligrams of testosterone per week versus 250, okay, and 2,500, even though that's a lot in terms of pro and, in terms of high level bodybuilding circles, there's much higher used, and also for powerlifting and strongmen, okay? And I can talk about this because I've been in that world, for I would say for a while, all right? So having said all that, what's the biggest difference? The biggest difference between these two comes down to one thing: strength. The biggest thing, the most immediate thing you're gonna notice is strength, okay? During times when testosterone, was crazy high, okay, you're gonna notice what? A huge increase in strength. Before you notice, any other positive effects, you're gonna notice the first thing you're going to notice is extreme strength. And I'm not talking about, your bench going up 50 pounds. I am talking about a huge increase in how strong you are across all major lifts and minor lifts. Way stronger. You're able to create power faster. You're able to do your reps. You're able to push your reps much farther past failure. We're talking about, just strength, total strength across everything. Performance, stamina. We are talking just huge difference, a huge gain in muscular output, okay? So, not just your 1 rep max is going to go way up, but just the ability to create energy, produce energy, drive, your intensity in the gym will go way up, and the ability to push, much farther past failure than you normally could. And even, guys, for myself, even being on high dose testosterone replacement, at 250 a week, I noticed for myself a big difference between when I'm at 250, and pushing my testosterone, we'll say like 1,400, 1,500 total testosterone, and that's in nanograms per deciliter, versus when I was natural, and had a T level of whatever, 800, 900, I noticed a big difference in terms of being able to push much farther into failure and past failure than before. So, you can imagine how much more of a jump it is being at 2,500. Having said that, moving on from extreme strength gains, the second biggest thing is going to be obviously an increase in size, muscle mass, and the such, okay? This is going to come obviously after the strength, with the strength being the immediate effect. You're going to see a huge hypertrophy of all your skeletal muscles, okay? Neck, your neck's gonna get way thicker. You'll notice that immediately. Okay, so shoulders, biceps, triceps, chest, legs, everything is gonna be much bigger. Your weakest points are still gonna be your weakest points, but in total, everything's gonna get much bigger. Having said that, we'll just take it from there. Besides a huge increase in muscle mass, and we're talking, from natural, I'd say probably we're talking, 25, 30 pounds, depending on the person, okay? Having said that, one thing I want to get into, since we're talking about extreme hypertrophy, is you got to remember, guys, anytime you take, a high amount or an abusive amount of testosterone or anabolic steroids, not only are your skeletal muscles going to hypertrophy just from that hormone alone, without even training and nutrition, all that, obviously these things will have a synergy and benefit. But what I want you guys to realize is that, yeah, you're going to get this huge hypertrophy right across all your muscle groups. But the issue is that your heart's also muscle. It's going to hypertrophy. And when this happens, you're going to thicken your heart wall, thicken your heart. And this leads to heart dysfunction and basically a weaker heart like I had. I talk about this at length in Anabolic Steroids, the Truth, and like all these bodybuilders have. And that's why, a lot of bodybuilders or, people in Hollywood, fitness, athletic industry, if they are abusing testosterone or anabolic steroids, you're at a much higher risk of heart attack. Again, go watch my video, Anabolic Steroids, the Truth. I laid everything out and I talk about, my own experience having had a prescription for high amount of testosterone at one time, okay? All right, moving past that, moving on into what? So let's talk about the next thing. Let's talk about stamina. Okay, so the one thing is that you're going to notice not just the strength and the muscle mass, but you can, it's true. Okay, the normal thought pattern holds true. Your stamina is greatly increased. You can train way longer. Yes, you can train way harder, but you can train way longer. Your workouts you can recover from much faster. You can train way harder, way longer. And that's why these things are abused in almost every sport, okay? Whether from cycling with Lance Armstrong, who is 100 pounds, 120 pounds, I don't even know how light he was. But that's why it's used in every sport, whether it has to do with muscle or not, is the recovery in terms of the muscular system is going to be increased, and also along with that stamina. Let's move on into, we talked strength, muscle mass, we talked about stamina and performance. Let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about the mental change. The problem you're going to have is, and a lot of people are going to have, is wicked insomnia, okay? Now, what people do to combat this, no matter bodybuilding, fitness, athletics, Hollywood, whatever, is they take sleeping meds and other drugs, okay? But the problem is you're going to run into issues with this long-term, as they can change your brain and also lead to addiction, okay? Okay, and this is coming from, somebody who was once prescribed Ambien, and the doctor didn't tell me how crazy, highly addictive this was, because when you want to stop taking, a drug like Ambien or some other of these extremely habit-forming addictive drugs, let's say you want to stop taking them for sleep, guess what? You can't stop cold turkey. You'll have crazy withdrawals and other problems. So, I tell people don't even. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about mental real quick. One huge problem with 2,500 versus 200 is going to be mental. You are going to be, I don't want to say a lunatic, but you are going to be extremely, extremely, extremely happy and pumped and energized all the time. When you're working out, you're going to be so happy and euphoric. You're going to be, testosterone is not, it's really not, it's in the class of anabolic steroids, but it's not. This is your body's natural hormone, the natural hormone God gave us and put into the male body that makes a male a male. So the thing is that you crank testosterone through the roof. It's not like you're going to get roid rage or get angry. You crank testosterone through the roof, you're going to feel amazing, okay? You're going to feel absolutely amazing. You're going to feel so good. You're going to feel euphoric. You're going to feel incredible. You're going to feel like the man of mans, okay? Testosterone makes men feel good. And when older men have low testosterone, that's why they're so grumpy all the time, okay? Having said that, you're not only do you feel so good and do that, but the big issue with testosterone is, besides the sleep thing, if you don't sleep, you're going to feel bad regardless. But, besides, just this euphoria and this feeling super good, the problem is that testosterone in the male brain, this has been documented. I think it was the German scientists that documented this. I'd have to go back and check. But they address too is that, high testosterone, and especially in the case 2,500 versus 200, you're going to have crazy, not just, super happy and euphoric, but confidence to the point where you are, you're really, really bold. And also, you do things that it overrides, and I can tell you guys this, honestly, guys, you still think about things that can go wrong, and you think about, how do I word this the best? I would say this is that your mechanisms for fear, we're in circumstances where you'd normally be afraid, or you'd normally be like, oh, I probably shouldn't do that. You'll be like, oh, I can do that, or I can do this, do that. You're more reckless, I guess. You're more reckless, you're more bold. Now this isn't an excuse, but this is something that, absolutely happens. It changes the way you think. Okay? So I mean, whether especially if you're driving a car, or just decisions you make, you're more reckless, you're more bold, and you don't have that mechanism that stops you, or the mechanism's there, but it's just like it's gone, okay? Because you basically think you can do anything, and this invincibility thing is not a good thing, because guess what? We live in the real world. If you drive a certain way, or you do a certain thing, there's reasons why we feel fear, and that's to keep us from doing bad behavior. So again, this is one reason why I would tell people, don't do this. Don't do this stuff. High dose testosterone replacement is a one thing, but 2,500 is going to change your brain. And the people that have done this, which are many, I'm sure, watching, they're going to know what I'm talking about. So those are the biggest differences. But like I said, in terms of forgetting the psychological component and the change that occurs in your brain, the biggest thing is really going to be, the immediate thing is going to be heart thickening, leading to heart dysfunction, like I had at one point. And don't do that stuff, guys. And then also over time, plaque buildup in the arteries. Guys, Seth Spartan, stay safe, stay healthy. A good video for people who are on TRT wondering, oh man, I wonder what it's like to use super high amounts of testosterone. I know some people are thinking about that and they want to do that, but I'm going to tell you guys, for all the reasons I discussed, the positives and the short-term gain as good as it is, the negatives are far too great to your health. God only gave you one body. Take care of it. Guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and we are out of here.